And hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. I'm Sherry Shriner. I know it's about 20 minutes late, but I was having trouble getting on here. Frontier Service not wanting me to do a show tonight. I saw the bad things I said about Blog Talk Radio to myself. I take back. It actually wasn't BTR. And I know the government has hackers that tries to get into BTR and block my show. I've heard that straight from horse's mouth in the White House. So it wasn't one of Hillary's hackers tonight. It was actually the phone company itself, Frontier. Probably easier to hack. Either way, 20 minutes later, I'm finally on. Looks to be an interesting month. And I'm not going to say a whole lot, so I don't know why they're so worried. I'm not one to try to prevent anything. Let's get the ball rolling. I know they're coming, and you know, folks, May, June, July, something's going to pop. I'll just say it straight out, and it's going to be from space. So you need to be prepared. Now, us folks in Ohio, we worked together as a team over the years, and we've been able to chip away at this state. And we have walls running north, south, east, west, in circles. We have them everywhere. So if you don't have pipes up, folks, and you don't have your air saturated with orgone, you're going to be in a bit of trouble from the things that are coming from space because they're coming down. And orgone travels up, but you need punch in that orgone to penetrate the higher heavenlies. You need a pipe for that. Every orgone warrior, and this would be one of my few remaining dreams on Earth, would have a pipe in their yard or a bucket blaster, because those are what punch the atmosphere. And with these things coming down from space, let them come down, but let them come down in flames. You know, if they're going to come down, we've been warned about it in Joel chapters 1 and 2, Revelation chapters 9. They're going to be here. But how much of that is going to affect you in your area is up to you. I've traveled across this country twice, 3 times. I can only do so much. And I typically try to target the people who support this ministry so that their areas are protected and their states have some help. I'm not going to go to states where I get absolutely no support from people there. I go where my warriors are. And so that's the way it is, and that's the way it's going to be. And right now I can't even get on the road because my car is such a worthless pile of garbage. It just needs to be driven to a dump and dropped off there. And people keep giving their little dollars and their millions to the wolves, the Benny Hinns, who do nothing but suck them of their money and energy. And you know what the Father says? These people who sit in these mega churches are just going to follow these pastors straight to hell because those pastors are not his. They're not his. And they lead his people astray with lies. And when these people sit in those pews week after week after week and adopt these lies, they become one with the wolf who's preaching them. And he's going to reject them. Folks better be thinking twice about who you're throwing your support, who's your shepherd on this. You know? Shepherds have a huge responsibility. And I'll tell you what right now, Satanists don't care because they don't believe in God. Billy Graham, they don't believe in God. They believe it's a good pitch, a good sell, but they personally don't believe in him. They're Masons. They're 33rd and higher. Joel Osteen's, they drink blood at night and sacrifice babies on satanic altars when no one's around, when it's not Sunday. They have their satanic churches on Saturdays. And then they go into our churches on Sundays and preach the word. Really? Some of you people just have no idea about the snakes you're really listening to. That's why it only takes about 5 minutes of research online now. Now you don't even have an excuse. You can go to YouTube and type in the name of your pastor or do research. Everybody has haters. I have them all over the place, but there's not one with any legitimate truth about me and any of those lies. So anyway, yeah, attacks from space are coming. And what I think is interesting is I keep seeing Obama with them. He's going to arrive with them, which makes me think he might just... This was the deal with Bush. You know, Bush Jr. was supposed to be the one. He was qualified, but it passed over him because he was going to die and then return to Earth as this heavenly light being, blah, blah, blah. And it never happened. And now the mantle is given to Obama. Because what have I told you? The leader of last days Babylon is the Antichrist, whether it's actually going to be Obama or he signs the keys and authority over to somebody else to take control of our country. But he's knee-deep. He's knee-deep in this alien New Age agenda. He's knee-deep in it. He's up in space with them all the time. And when this attack from space happens, whether it's this month or next month, he's the one that gives the go-ahead. He's the one pressing the buttons. Now, his part in their dissension, I don't know. They descend down here and try to play the whole we're God charade, other than maybe being some fake, phony, lighted being, because they can use technology for that, and they do, because they're not real angelic beings. All that light facade is just technology. I don't know what role he'll play in that, but he may return with them. So just keep your eyes on the skies, folks. And usually if something's going to happen, it's going to be in the mornings. I see that a lot, in the morning. And when you see in the morning in the codes, it's usually any time after midnight till about 7 or 8 a.m. I mean, I knew the attack. Hang on, let me let this guy out of here. I knew the attack on my house was going to happen in the morning. And when it did, it happened at 2 a.m. And every time you see visions of attacks from space, they're always late at night. Or it's dark. It's late at night. It's either in the early morning hours or late at night. Be prepared, folks, because most of us will be sleeping. When it finally happens, you might hear some booming, some thundering going on outside. Something grabs your attention. You look out the window. You better already be prepared by then. That's all I got to say. I'm going to teach you some quick spiritual warfare prayers because most of you will just be going nuts and not thinking. You don't have to be formal when you talk to the Father. Sure, there's a time when we just sit down and we have formal prayers. Most of the time when I talk to the Father, I'm working on something. I'm just gabbing with him. When I need his help or his attention immediately, I just seek him right away. You don't have to go into formalities. He's your Father, so talk to him like a father. You have the relationship with him that you build. If everything has to be real formal with you all the time and you're bowing your head and you're praying, then fine. You're always just going to have a real formal relationship with him. But when you let your hair down and just have fun with him, he's a lot of fun. Now, when you look up in the sky and you see thousands of aliens descending out of the clouds, what's the first thing you should do? Oh, ask Father to crank up the organ. Another thing would be to ask him, say, Father, I ask that you please put up a shield of fire over my home right now, over this entire area, over this entire state. Put up a shield of fire that they can't penetrate. And if they try to come through it, it burns them. Shield of fire. Then ask him to put up a shield over your home, a dome shield from the front of the property or the building all the way to the front, seal down the sides, make it impenetrable that nothing can penetrate. Anything caught underneath it is burned and destroyed. Ask him to send his angels to grab it and cast it into the abyss and dump them on their heads. I have to do that one all the time. We're not under physical attack. We're usually under attacks when you can't see them, but you know they're around. You feel that dark, thick air, that real creepiness. So black outside you could cut it. That's an evil. And you know what I do? I put up the dome shield, and I ask the Father to grab anything that was caught underneath it, bind it and cast it to hell, take them to hell and dump them on their heads. They learn to leave you alone. They always hit and run. You know, just because this place or this state is a fortress doesn't mean they don't hit and run. They won't stay here. They're not going to sit and camp out on my doorstep like they are some of yours. Some of yours are going to feel quite comfortable at. They may just move in. Because you got nowhere going around. And you can use your spiritual warfare prayers against them, and it'll work for a bit. What are you going to do when you're sleeping? They're going to be sitting on your couches when you're sleeping. See, that's why I like the orgo, and it's working when you're sleeping. People say we don't need it. Then why would the Lord teach us how to make it? Why would he send us all over the country to protect and defend his people if it wasn't a valid weapon of his? Israel always had a strategy and a plan for war. That's why they were always one of the toughest armies in the world and could never hardly be beaten unless the Father gave their destruction over to their enemies because of their arrogance and rebellion against him. And he is going to give Israel over to the destruction of their enemies because of our sins against him. But you know what? He's going to protect his people that call on him, that have been faithful to him. Not faithful to the Benny Hinns and the Joel Osteens and the false shepherds that lead the church. Just faithful to him. You don't have to get to the Father by sitting in a beast church. You get faithful to the Father by sitting at his feet and learning how to build a relationship with him. There's things that are coming upon this earth, and something that blew me away today when I was sitting here at the codes and it said liberty linger. And I'm like, what? Liberty linger? That's not good. That means for some reason we're still free. For some reason we're not under law and martial law and war, or attack from invasions. We still have liberty. That should make a jaw drop as far as where are we in timeline, time things. Now, I know every year the summer months are tough. And they are. I feel like a broken repeat record. Hit repeat every year. But it's getting to be crunch time finally, folks. How many more delays can we possibly live through? We can live through them. They can't. We have systematically destroyed thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of them. And when we take out their underground bases, we destroy their vehicles as well. So we're not only destroying aliens, we're destroying their ships. Because Argon melts their ships. They don't have any more time to waste because they know if they keep waiting, there's going to be nothing left. And what's one of the first things the Antichrist does when he comes here? And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle and them that dwell in heaven. He hates them. He's mad. Why? Because when he comes here to make it even with me, we're gone. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them. And power was given him over all kindreds, tongues, and nations. The UN gives him their power. He has power over the whole world. That's why they're saying, who can make war with him? Because he has power over the whole world. But what's he do? He comes mouthing off against God and those that dwell in heaven. He's mad. Why is he mad at us? Think about it. If the churches today are so completely ineffective and owned by him anyway, then why would he be mad? Because there's a faction that's destroying him, tearing down his strongholds, frying his kids, offsprings. All these various alien factions are offsprings of offsprings. We're frying their bases, tearing down their strongholds. They've got almost nothing left. And when they arrive, they're mad. He's mad. He's got a score to settle, and he doesn't get to settle it because we're gone. The Oregon Warriors will be gone. And so what's he do? He makes war against the saints. Now tell me this. If there was a rapture of the entire bride at that time, what saints would he be warring against? And don't give me this theoretical crap. Oh, it's the people who get saved when we leave. It's the ones who are still here because they're still here. Judgment always starts in the house of God first. And it's going to start against his bride here first through martial law and FEMA camps. He has always said that, and I have always said it. I repeat what he says. His people will be judged through FEMA camps and roundups and martial law. Now, why are they judged if they're truly his? It's all these brides, it's all these ones sitting in the beast churches that call him by his name that he rejects. He's going to give you a second chance. He's going to say, okay, refine your faith, prove that you love me through persecution. Because you know what? There's a handful of people on this earth who live through persecution every single day. They can't stand, they can't walk, they can't pay bills, they're kept in poverty because of who and what they are. But they serve the Lord daily despite the persecution and hatred and targeting. If you have helicopters over your house all the time because they want to know exactly where you live, then you're doing good. You're an enemy of theirs. Because they know where their enemies are. They keep tabs on them. They use everything they've got, every kind of intel, to keep you under surveillance 24/7. When they find you, they usually try to target you with some kind of poisons or health attacks. They hate you. Satan hates you. Pat yourself on the back. The Lord loves you. There are so many Christians who think we're crazy because they don't live through any of this. That's because they're not a threat to Satan. And those are the very ones they're just going to be thrown into being tested for their faith. Because their love for the Lord is so shallow, they have no works that have been in building the Father's kingdom on earth, because Satan doesn't hate them. If Satan doesn't hate you, then you're his friend. You're his buddy. He doesn't count you as an enemy. You're not hurting him. To me, that's just sickening. How can you live on this earth and not be hated by Satan? If you're hated by him, that means you're being effective. You've got his attention. You wear it like a badge of honor, folks. A lot of people whine. You get sick of it. All the helicopters over your homes all the time. The phone service disruptions, the job firings, the assassination attempts, the health issues. When you start getting into health issues, that's when you really need to learn to hear that little small voice that speaks in your spirit, because a Father will keep you healthy. He's the only one that's kept me alive all this time. I barely have a stomach lining left because of all the poisons I've ingested over the years. And then I don't go to doctors, and I don't go to all that unless it's very dire and I have to. He has healed me simply just by helping me learn how to eat and what not to eat. And because he just heals. Otherwise, I just would have killed over ages ago. I'll tell you, one of the biggest things they do is when they're following you, and they can follow you by air, and